It's not just moving costs Prince Harry will have to foot the bill for, but now legal costs too. £9.5 million ordered to be paid as the first round of indemnity costs by the Duke of Sussex, Elton John and his husband David Furnish, the actresses Elizabeth Hurley and Sadie Frost, as well as Baroness Doreen Lawrence and the former Lib Dem politician Simon Hughes, after they lost their case, all to be paid to the publisher of the Daily Mail. But there will likely be even more to pay. There's no cap on the £34.5 million being sought, and only £16 million of it will be covered by their insurance. The decision is unusual in English law, enforced because the High Court found the claims were exceptionally broad and lacked evidence.
In fact, entirely cooked up is the way Associated Newspapers' defence put it, that the net had been cast as wide as possible to try to catch as many journalists up to no good as possible, and that the whole thing had been driven by lawyers and researchers who then found claimants to front the case. And so they argued that meant the litigation was far from ordinary or reasonable.
As evidence, they cited that the lead name was always that of Baroness Lawrence, whose son Stephen was murdered in a racist attack in 1993. In recent hearings, the defence claimed that she was being used as the face of it to garner public sympathy. Only one of the claimants commented on the judgment today. Sir Simon Hughes said he was disappointed and surprised that the court declined to limit the recoverable costs and that he was taking the time to consider whether to pursue appeals. They have until October the 2nd to decide. After all, Harry has dubbed this his life's work. In 2019, he accepted damages from Splash News Agency, which used a helicopter to take photographs of his home in the Cotswolds. In 2023, he became the first British royal in over 130 years to testify in court, winning a phone hacking case against Mirror Group newspapers, which published the Daily Mirror, Sunday Mirror and Sunday People. Then, in 2025, he settled with News Group newspapers, which published The Sun and News of the World, over intrusion, phone hacking and unlawful private investigator use. So this one that he's lost against Associated Newspapers is a setback. And its editor-in-chief delighted in the schadenfreude of it all, saying it should never have gone to trial in the first place.
There isn't a laundry in the cosmos big enough to wash all the dirty linen he has aired about his own family.
Today it said the outrageous claim should never have been brought and that they were pursued raises disturbing questions about the conduct of the legal profession.
There is a new report commissioned by the government dealing with concerns about the press.
In 2012, the Leveson inquiry looked into the ethics of the press, concluding there'd been a systemic culture of misconduct. But a part 2 was cancelled by the government. Associated Newspapers argued Harry's case was designed to pressure the government into a further inquiry. Those pushing for a more accountable press say the decision today doesn't reduce the need for change.
I think we need to, still reflect, even a few years later, on the behaviour of the press, the fact that they can still behave with impunity. And despite what they say about the sales of newspapers, they are still setting the tone. They are still providing the discourse around really important issues in this country. When people are being harassed, like the family of Jason Arday had press on his doorstep. There has to be a way of saying, stop, this has gone too far.
Harry's barrister had criticised Associated Newspapers for not being open about unprecedented mounting legal costs so they could get ample insurance. His team saying it was naughty and it's not on, but pay them he must.
Well, joining me now from Surrey is Lionel Barber, who was the editor of the Financial Times for 15 years. He has won one of these cases before, Prince Harry, and settled another one. Do you think people are in danger of overreacting to the fact that he's lost?
Not at all. This is a stinging verdict by the judge, and the bill for pursuing a flawed case and a flawed legal strategy has now come due. Remember, 97 claims made by the plaintiffs, led by Prince Harry, Simon Hughes, David Furnish and others, were dismissed by the judge. And today he reiterated why. Because the case there was not evidence submitted which was in any way credible. And he said the claims were speculative in origin and relied on inference, which means suspicion. So they didn't have a case.
And Prince Harry, you know, he wanted this to be a landmark moment, didn't he? A line in the sand. Is there a danger that it has the opposite effect now and it puts people off taking on the UK media?
Well, people are going to think twice about taking on the Daily Mail, that's for sure, because they always do fight in court. And I think Prince Harry, he did feel aggrieved. I had personal contact with him at the time, and he really did feel that his privacy had been violated, and his wife. But he overreached, and he was given, in my view, very poor legal advice, and they should have abandoned the case when that key witness, the private detective, was found not to be credible.
And he's described the press, hasn't he, and living with it as being like the lion's den. And that's the world he's coming back to.
Well, I think he used stronger terms in private, actually, Kieran, but he is coming back. So the question is, can he reset? There's obviously terrifically bad blood between the Prince Harry and the press. Are there any people at this point prepared to give him a second hearing? Can I
just ask you, because this week there's been intense discussion about media reporting of Jason Arde, the former Cambridge professor who died a week ago. What do you say to the criticism that coverage got out of hand and became a witch hunt?
It was a legitimate story. Everybody should have pursued it. There were credible allegations of plagiarism. He was a fabulist, but he was also a vulnerable individual. So for me, I would have drawn a line when Professor Arde resigned from Cambridge. Remember, Cambridge made a huge hoo-ha and fanfare about appointing the youngest ever black professor. But I would have said, let's go easy now once he's resigned. But the coverage continued. Just remember, though, the words of Lord Igor Judge, Lord Chief Justice, ahead of the Leveson inquiry, which you just referred to, and where I testified. He said there will be sections of the independent press that may conduct themselves scandalously, if not criminally. But on the same day, there will be other members, sections of the press, that will actually uncover a public scandal. So I'm against this campaign to re-regulate the press.
I think we're out of time, Lionel Barber, but thank you so much for speaking with us.
Thank you, Kieran.